Welcome to the first episode of the Bleed Blue segment on the Coach Steve Show podcast. This is where we will talk about everything with Eastern Illinois University, mainly football. We will try our best to talk about basketball and other sports, but this is where we will talk about everything Eastern Illinois. It's a football school. No offense to anybody. But this is the first segment. It's part of the Coach Steve Show called Bleed Blue. So make sure if this is your first time watching or listening, you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow it, and give it a rating on Apple and iTunes and Spotify. Check all that stuff out. Follow on X or Twitter, whichever one you want to call it, at Coach_Steve72. Instagram, Coach Steve72 as well. And they're both on Instagram and X as the Coach Steve Show as well. Again, this is Bleed Blue, part of the Coach Steve Show. If you subscribe, you'll get a playlist look, and it'll be Bleed Blue. It'll be up there. We have stuff for everybody on this channel. We've got interviews with high school and college football coaches and other people in the sports media world. We have a Bear Down segment. Co-host Zach Kyleman will be on here weekly to talk about the Chicago Bears. Then we have our ILL, INI segment to talk about everything University of Illinois athletics. And then we got Bleed Blue, so we can talk about everything that has to do with Eastern Illinois University. I am repping them today. That is where I went to school. That's where everything. So let's get into this Bleed Blue first episode of this on the Coach Steve Show. Eastern Illinois football opens up tonight against the University of Illinois. I have been a University of Illinois fan since birth. Growing up 25 minutes outside of Champaign-Urbana my whole life, I have been an Illinois fan since birth. So this is very awkward because then I go to college at Eastern Illinois, and then I built a relationship with some coaches down there. I have a former player that I coached in high school on the coaching staff. So this is very awkward for me. I did an ILL, INI segment talking about the keys for Illinois to try to get the win over Eastern Illinois, and I was as respectful as I could be, and I'm going to try to do the same here with Eastern Illinois kicking off versus the University of Illinois. It's at 8:10 p.m. Central Time. I think it was supposed to be 8. Now it's 8:10. So let's just talk about Eastern Illinois football. Coach Wilkerson is his third year coming in, had a rough year, and then they had a very good year last year. I believe it was 8-3, 9-3. They did not make the playoffs. So they went 8-3 in the regular season, 4-2 in the conference. They are back on the map here. They should have made the playoffs. It was actually very shocking to a lot of people in the media world in the OVC, the Ohio Valley Conference, that they did not make the playoffs, but they said they would have to win the championship in order to make it. That just showed how tough of a schedule they had and showed how tough the conference was, because if that was the only way to get in and you had other teams that were winning a lot of games, it was very tough. Coach Wilkerson came in. He used to play there. I think he was a GA there, met his wife in Charleston. So he is EIU through and through. He was a successful coach at the University of Chicago, Division III school up here in the suburbs. And in Chicago, went down to Eastern, and he took his Division III culture mindset and implemented it into Eastern, building off of the culture that was already set. Has a great coaching staff built there. And talking to those coaches, you can check the episodes out on YouTube or on Apple and iTunes. I've talked to Coach Wilkerson. I've talked to their strength coach, O-line coach, offensive coordinator, O-line coach. I've talked to a lot of people. They are very fired up for their season. They're doing everything right. They hit the transfer portal the right way that they needed to. They did not lose a lot of players, and they have players coming back. The quarterback's coming back. He had transferred in from Georgetown last year, so he had Division I experience and played well last year. They have the running back back. They've got some linemen back. I even have a player that I coached 1 year in 2018, Anthony Shockey. He is a linebacker for Eastern Illinois University as well. I believe it's his 5th year. He's big, number 5. He's like the biggest dude on the field. And so I have some ties to Eastern. I've also built a relationship with Coach Bart Miller at the University of Illinois. So again, this is going to be as respectful as I can be. This is a tough game. This is a very tough opener game for Eastern Illinois. This is not uncommon to see a Division I or FCS team go play Division I. Division I and the FBS, they pay FCS teams to come in. And we've seen FCS teams upset the Division I teams. Eastern Illinois actually did it when Jimmy G was there. They traveled to San Jose State, I believe, and they beat them. So it's not uncommon to see an FCS team. We even saw Appalachian State, a long time ago beat Michigan at Michigan. So it's not uncommon. So we have to sit here and talk about this is, and I said this on the ILL-INI segment, this is not an assumption win. You could say on paper for Illinois, it's an assumption win versus Eastern. This is not a typical FCS team. This, and no offense to all the other sports, when people hear Eastern, they think football. And that's just it. Now, they have a great track program. They've had great basketball players come through. Their softball team does well. They've had good girls, women's basketball. They've had volleyball. But when you hear Eastern Illinois, I think one of the first things you think of is football. And so they have a great football tradition. Tony Romo, Sean Payton, Jimmy G, and just the list goes on and on. Kyle Shanahan went there. The legendary coach, Coach Spoo. Coach Wilkerson went there. Cole Hoover, who's their tight end coach, he went to school there and played there. So there's a lot of ties that come around to Eastern. And when you don't necessarily will have the quote-unquote talent from an FCS to an FBS, how do you beat those teams? Well, you have to be very well coached, and the players have to buy in on what they're doing. The players are very bought into what Coach Wilkerson and staff are doing. They are fully 100% committed, bought in to what they're doing. The culture is set in. They're working extremely hard. And if you look at their schedule last year, they won a lot of close games. The closer wins are almost more impressive than the blowouts because you are put into an uncomfortable situation and you are in a very close game. And how do you battle and come back or hold on to a lead or go back and forth, or it's a defensive battle? How do you march down the field and score? Can you get down there and kick a field goal? All of those things come into play. And Eastern last year showed that. And with a lot of returning players coming back, Eastern is set to have another big year like this. And their next step is to make the playoffs and try to make a run in the playoffs. And we talked about this when we talked about the Illinois side of this. Illinois averaged 24, I think, 0.6 points a game. Eastern's averaged 23.6 points per game. Now, I know that's not a lot, but they averaged that much. And they kept their opponents to 19 points. And they forced 25 turnovers last year. Eastern Illinois did. Their defense is fast. They have a decent-sized defensive line up front, decent-sized linemen up there, and they are very physical. They do give up some chunk plays, but when it gets down into the red zone, they are hitting you. They are rallying to the football, and they are very physical. To force 25 takeaways is a lot. Their offense, they can really change speed on you. They can go up tempo. They can really focus on the run game. And Coach Deckerson, their offensive coordinator, has been with Coach Wilkerson for a long time, so they understand each other. And when you have that dynamic, because he was a special teams coach with him at Eastern, Coach Davis was their offense coordinator. Now he's the head coach at Western Illinois. They are not. This is not going to be, oh my gosh, Eastern's going into Illinois and it's an automatic win for Illinois. It's not. And we talked about this for Illinois. They cannot overlook Eastern. I remember growing up, Eastern would play Illinois because they're 45 minutes away from each other. So why would you not? If you're going to play a Division I team, why not just, you don't have to pay for an airplane or anything like that. They probably got a hotel in Champaign, but you really don't have to. If the game is tonight, it's at 8:00. So you could have left this morning, went there, able to practice either there or there's high school fields around that you could use and everything else. So why would you not play them? But I remember Eastern would always keep it a close game because it's a football school. Eastern is known for physicality. They're known for being able to run the football hard. And when you got guys coming back for Eastern that can do these type of things, it's going to make it a tough game for Illinois as well, I think. A lot of people are predicting that Illinois wins, 40-something to 13, and that's been the average, 40-something to 13. The closest one I saw, I think, was like 38 to 17 or something like that. That was the closest one. And if they can force Illinois into some mistakes and stick around, take some time off the clock, and be confident in what they're doing, it will be a close game. And again, I talked about how they had 25 takeaways. Pierce Hawley, their quarterback, he transferred in last year from Georgetown. He understands how to play football. He gets rid of the ball quick. He puts it where he wants it. He's very good at maneuvering in the pocket. If Illinois, because one of the challenges for Illinois is, are you going to get pressure on the quarterback now that you've lost some D linemen and some players to the NFL the last 2 years? Are you able to generate pressure? And then the key is Eastern Illinois' offensive line. They have a very good offensive line coach. One of my buddies' former players plays there, and one of my former players played offensive line there. That coach is there. And so if they're able to make sure that there's no pressure on Holly, he's going to be able to move the football. MJ Flowers is the running back. He played last year in a few years. They're calling it a veteran 1-2 punch. And so they played Bowling Green last year and were able to move the ball. They didn't score as much as they wanted to. They've played Northern Illinois, so they've played some Division I teams. And so I think Illinois is going to want to go out there and try to prove the defense. And being an Illinois fan, you want that. But having a veteran quarterback that's played Division I and played at Eastern last year, you have a veteran running back. I don't think they're going to be rattled, right? Like, even if you get pressure on Holly, I don't think he's going to be rattled because he's seen it. And if you go back and try to watch some of the previous games from last year when he was at Eastern, anytime the pocket did break down, he was able to move and, again, maneuver the pocket, right? He was able to do those things. And so it's, I don't know. It's a toss-up because you want to sit here and say that if you're Eastern, you never want to go into it saying you don't have a chance to win because Division I, right? Like, you're not just doing it for the money, you're doing it to better yourself, right? But you are trying to put yourself in a situation where you're trying to beat the Division I team, or as from a coach perspective, if you can come out and say that, wow, we really competed with a Division I program. Like, if you do a lot of good things, now take that into our conference, into our schedule, because this isn't the only Division I team they're playing. They're going to play Northwestern here later on in the season. It's coming up soon. I think it's September 14th, actually trying to go to that game. So it's not the only one. So if you can move the ball on Illinois' defense, if you're able to slow their offense down and not give up big plays, you're going to take that confidence and move it on to your schedule. There was an article about, Eastern Illinois versus Illinois in the preview. They predict that it says Eastern Illinois will come up with a few points here and there to make Illinois keep trying, but there shouldn't be too much drama, right? And that's usually what happens, right? Your Division I teams, quote unquote, have more depth and talent because they're Division I, right? But I also think it's interesting to watch these type of games because of the transfer portal, right? I don't like the way the transfer portal is set up and the way it's going with name, image, and likeness. But with this transfer portal, you're getting players, and I talked about it on Tuesday, was you're seeing a Division I realm where, people complain about Alabama getting all the players and Ohio State and now Georgia. And you're seeing guys go to the transfer portal. Now they're kind of all over the place, and it's making college football more equal. You can kind of make an argument for that, but you still have the Alabamas. You still have Georgia. You still have Ohio State. And then you got Oregon that's still good. Like, these teams that have been good are still good even with the transfer portal stuff going on. But when you do watch football now, you are seeing these Division I, like Power 5 echelon of the players now on different teams. But what's happening is, and I don't think it's talked about enough, is these kids go to the transfer portal thinking they're going to go be Division I or big-time Power 5 on those top teams, and they can't find a home. So FCS swoops in and says, we're still Division I football. Because I think, Pete, I wanted to state this here because of, going to Eastern and stuff. FCS is still very, very good football. Like, a lot of guys still go to the NFL. They'll play at FCS for 3 years or so, and all of a sudden they're echelon Power 5, right? So there's still a lot of good players. There's still a lot of that stuff, and it's not talked about enough. And Eastern always produces good football players. You could say, well, are they good football players unless they go to the NFL? No, I mean, you could say that, but they still produce very good football players. The other part of this article said that it's the second game Illinois played against an FCS team since 2018. It won't be a breather, but it'll be a good test for the team that needs to reestablish its identity right away. The defensive front for Illinois will settle in after a few good EIU drives, then it will start to become more about the offense turning up and testing some things out. And I get it. But I'm going to tell you right now, these articles, I guarantee you Coach Bielema doesn't like them either, because you cannot overlook any team. And he's not going to walk into that. Illinois is not going to walk into this game and think that they're just going to roll over Eastern Illinois, right? And Eastern Illinois is not going in thinking that they're going to lose either. They're going to go in there and try to compete. And if the score ends up being 44-17, as long as Eastern competes and does things well, that's a win, right? And so this is a good test for Eastern Illinois to go in. So in order for Eastern Illinois to get like an upset win, they have to make sure Illinois does not have big plays. They have to make sure that they turn the ball over. You made teams turn the ball over 25 times last year, which is a lot. So if you can force them into making mistakes and kind of hope that they are overlooking you, you are putting yourself in a position to compete in this game. And on offense, you have to make sure that you do not give up opportunities. You cannot give up open passes, like dropped passes. You cannot afford to miss a block. You cannot afford to let, pressure get to your quarterback, even though he is veteran. I don't think it's going to bother him. But if he's moving around in the pocket a lot, it's not going to go well for you. And so he's like I talked about in the other segment on Tuesday, Illinois cannot afford many mistakes. Eastern really cannot afford mistakes against this team. They cannot go out there and turn the ball over. They cannot go out there and I think it was Bowling Green last year. I was rewatching some games and trying to get a feel for this team because they're bringing players back. There was times they had guys tackled and then they broke off a tackle. They went for a kill shot that didn't wrap up, and Bowling Green, instead of getting tackled for a 1-yard gain, would break it. There was one and he broke it for like a 20-yard run. So you can't afford things like that to happen, right? And you just have to be yourself. You can't try to do too much. You have to do your job. And that's what Coach Wilkerson talks about, is like doing your job. They have the culture set. They play for each other. And you're not going out there thinking you're going to lose. And as you continue to this article, it says why Eastern Illinois will win. Like, how could they win? They led the FCS in turnovers with 25 takeaways. Illinois doesn't have the type of team that can overcome a ton of mistakes, is what they claim. It says on the other side of the ball, Pierce Hawley and running back MJ Flowers, they have a good veteran 1-2 punch in the backfield. They're not going to be fazed by a Big Ten defense. Then it says why Illinois will win. This is a tone-setting game. The Illinois running game has to be better this year. They retooled the offensive line. They'll come out looking to pound right away. The defense didn't have the same nastiness or production as they did in 2022. The loaded linebacking core will lead this way to improve the bunch. For all the good things about Eastern Illinois, the offensive line is about to be overrun. It struggled last year in pass protection, and Illinois' defensive front is about to eat. So I don't like these articles for that reason, is that you're, as an Illinois fan, you'd like to see it, but if you're an Illinois coach, you don't want to hear this stuff. You don't want to read this stuff, because who knows who wrote this? Do they really know what football is? And if you're Eastern Illinois, you're like, well, wait a minute. Like, where's the respect for us? Like, we're Eastern Illinois. Now, talking about championships, yeah, they kind of lack, but they are always competing to get to the playoffs, and they're competing in a very, very tough conference, and they play tough teams. And so I talked about Eastern Illinois' offensive line. They've got to play a lot better. That's one of the biggest keys right there, is the offensive line. I already read, what they predicted who would win. This article says Illinois would win 41-13. It's over under at the time, 25.5 and over 45 points. It's a must-see rating of 1.5. I think you need to watch it. Eastern, even if Eastern loses, they still do a lot of good things. So that right there to me is the key for Eastern Illinois to try to compete and try to come out of there with that. Thank goodness this is over, because I don't want to offend any Eastern Illinois coaches. I don't want to offend any U of I coaches. I was trying to do the best I could, because I am the biggest Illinois fan, and I'm a huge Eastern Illinois fan. I'm a huge fan of the coaches, and they're going to do a good job. And both teams at the end of the day are going to want to come to compete and try to execute what they've been working on since spring practice. So I think that, I'm not predicting a winner. Like I said, I'm going to be watching this game with either this shirt on and the Illinois hat or something. I'm going to have both on. It's a lose-lose, win-win situation, because if Illinois wins, you're happy as an Illinois fan. If Eastern wins, you're happy as a fan, but then you're sad because Illinois lost, and then you're sad that Eastern lost. I cannot wait for this game to be over. I'm excited to watch it, but I can't wait for it to be over so we can really get into the meat potatoes of the rest of their schedule for Illinois and Eastern, because we're going to talk about both. We're going to try to have post-game shows if we can. A lot's happening here, so please like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. We're over 1,000 subscribers. We got to get it more. We got to blow this thing up. We did not set up a studio thing like this to not get it blown up. And so please like and subscribe. Follow on Twitter at Coach_Steve72, Instagram Coach Steve72, X and Instagram the Coach Steve Show as well. Like and review, rate it on Apple and iTunes. We got to get that up too. Please leave comments in the comment section down below as to what you think is going to happen in this game. Check out other things. Missed a couple ones here. Ben Ellison said, fellow EIU alumni hoping to be competitive at least. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, Eastern Illinois has to get there. Fellow EIU alumni, just finished my degree this summer. Congratulations on finishing your degree at EIU. It's a great degree to get. I'm hoping for a competitive game. If we beat them, my brain will explode. Bryce is a player at Eastern Illinois. Played for my friend Nathan. Rolling effing thirsty. Bryce, I was doing my best because, you're probably an Illinois fan growing up, and I am. I'm trying to keep it civil and the best way I can. Bryce, good luck tonight if you're still watching. I'm going to be Bryce, I'm an old man, and this game's on at 8 o'clock. What are we doing? Can you talk to somebody for me about why this game is at 8 o'clock? Why couldn't it be at 6 or 6:30? Because I'm old. So staying up for this game, I'll be up to like 10:30, and then I got to do a post game, and then I got to get up early and drive to work, and then we got our first high school game tomorrow too. So Bryce, can you talk to somebody for me? And Bryce, if you're still watching, blame Rutgers and Howard. Yes, Bryce, if you're watching, still, I saw you guys are going to be at Northwestern. I am trying to figure out if I can go. I know their stadium's really small, and the ticket prices for a small stadium are outrageous. It was like $100 some bucks. But if I'm trying to figure it out. September 14th, I believe. I am hopefully going to be there. I have Eastern gear coming from BSN. It's not here yet. I've been emailing them like, where is my gear? But I'm hopefully going to be at that game. I moved farther away from the city. Like, I'm still considered a suburb, but I am very far away. But working to go to that game, Bryce. So if I go, I'll let you know, and wave at me, because that's a small stance in their practice field. Hit me up closer. Oh, Bryce, if you did that, oh my goodness, you'd have to sign something for me because you're big time. But yes, hopefully I'll be at that game. I'm trying to make it work out. But yeah, Bryce, good luck. And I want you guys to compete. I want you guys to, show some good things. I was trying to rewatch some games from last year and stuff like that. Like I said, it sucks because I'm a big Illinois fan, and I went to Eastern and walked on there. I'm a big-time Panther, and I really love the coaches there. You have some really good coaches. They're really good people and doing the right things, and so does Illinois. And so what I want from this game from both sides is I want it to be a competitive game. I really prefer to not see a blowout from either side. If it ends up being that way one way or the other, fine. But I hope up until that point it's a back-and-forth game, and it's just bang, bang, bang down to the wire. Like, I hope that's what it is. And so, Bryce, good luck. If you can, tell Coach Wilkerson and company I said good luck. Make sure my guy Cole Hoover treats you right. I coached him at Charleston. He's got to treat you right. He's a great coach. He's a great person. So make sure that things are going well there. So now I'll wrap up this first part of the Bleed Blue. Bryce, maybe you'll come on. Amazing coach, best in the country, rolling to Memorial now. Awesome. Bryce, you got to come on here for Bleed Blue stuff. You can come on here and talk about football season. Let's make that happen. I can't give you name, image, and likeness money because I'm a broke high school coach. But Bryce, you have my full open invitation to come on here and talk. I'm reaching out. I'm going to be reaching out to your coaches too to see if they can't once a week or every 2 weeks come on and talk too. Coach Wilkerson's the best. The best. And I'm trying to make it down to Charleston. And make sure Coach Hillman treats you guys right too. Your strength coach. He's awesome. Great guy. And Illinois has great coaches too. I got to go to their spring practice and stuff. So that will wrap up this first part of the Bleed Blue, which is everything Eastern Illinois athletics, mainly Eastern Illinois football. We'll try my best to do others. But that's what this is about. The game's on tonight at 8:10 Central Time. And why is it on the Big Ten Network, Bryce? You got to talk to people, man. Like, I got to figure out how to, come on. Just put it on FS1. What are we doing here? Like, it's so hard. So ridiculous. But thank goodness I'm not on Eastern time, waiting up till 9 o'clock to watch it. But I'll wrap this up. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow and rate it on Apple and iTunes and all that good stuff. Follow on all the socials. Leave comments in the comment section down below. Tell me what you think about the game. I'm going to do my best tonight if I'm not asleep because I'm an old man. Have a post game. I don't know if I'm going to do a post game for the ILI segment or this one or both, or just kind of put it on both. So there'll be hopefully a post game tonight and then first high school game tomorrow. So we got that going on too. So just doing the best I can. Check out all the other videos. If you're interested in Coach Bart Miller from Illinois, I had him on, and I had a lot of Eastern coaches. So if you want to listen to that real quick before the game kicks off, do that. So thanks everybody. Yeah, Bryce, Bryce, let's try to make it. If you want to make it weekly, we'll do something. So hit me up, Bryce. Good luck tonight. Hit me up and we'll have you on here to talk about the game from an inside of a player perspective. That'd be awesome. So again, no name, image, and likeness money because 1, I bought a house, so I'm broke. 2, I'm just a poor high school coach. So again, thanks everybody for watching it or listening. This is Coach Steve. Yes, Ben, you're welcome. Thanks for the new podcast. The podcast has actually been around since 2020, if you want me to be honest with you. I know I keep saying I'm going to hop off. I started in February of 2020, Ben, and it's kind of been all over the place, but you know what? I figured I love Illinois athletics. I'm a fan of Eastern Illinois athletics. I've always followed it, and I just decided to try to grow it a little bit, and we'll see where it goes. And so, again, thanks, everybody, for watching and or listening. This is Coach Steve. We'll see you guys next time, and make sure you like and subscribe. See you guys next time.